Hello, Clovis Elementary. I'm your principal, Mrs. Kellum, and I'm here with some esteemed colleagues, your coaches, as a matter of fact. We have gathered together to honor our winter sports season. That's right. We will be talking about basketball and wrestling. Your coaches had to think long and hard. They had to reflect on the season and choose athletes that were worthy of being recognized today. We're so proud of all of you. We're proud of the way you represented our school when you put on those uniforms and competed against our Clovis High area. Some of you also got to go on to district championships and area championships, and your coaches will talk more about that. We are going to start with girls basketball, and I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Steinhardt.
We had a great time with girls basketball this year. I was really happy to see a lot of girls who maybe this wasn't the most comfortable thing for them, but they came out and tried something new and some of them found they really, really liked it. So I know I had to walk around and talk a lot of girls into doing it this year, but I'm so glad you guys decided to come out and do it. And I hope you had as much fun as we did, because I know everybody improved. So to talk about my award winners, my first award will be Most Valuable Player, and that is going to be for Ella Barsotti. She did such a great job this year. She really knew how to dribble. She was really aggressive, and she always went up for those points. So we were very glad to have Ella on our team. My most improved player is going to be Cy Miller. I think Mills, when she came out, she didn't know a lot about basketball, but she was so important to us under the basket. She was great on defense, and she saved a lot of points for us, and I think she learned a lot about basketball. And then my coach's award is going to go to Daniela Williams. I was so glad the girls came out this year, and I know they're very familiar with basketball, usually from having to watch their brother, but I was so happy to see them out this year. And I know Daniela and Liliana, but Daniela, they really got into it this year, and I was so happy they decided to come out and do it. And I hope to see all those fifth graders who played with me this year out there next year.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Coach. Coach Robles is here to talk to us about her team, girls basketball.
This season was awesome. All the girls came out. They had so much fun. I loved having everyone with their great attitudes. For the awards, I wanted to give for Most Valuable Player this award to Maya Sellers. She was always there, getting that ball, dribbling down the court, making those baskets. Awesome job, Maya. And then our best rebounder goes to Aubrey Caradona. Aubrey was always right there when the ball was coming back down. She grabbed that ball and got it back for our team. So awesome job, Aubrey. And our most improved goes to Ashley Ramirez. She was always there trying to practice hard, and she came out always willing to play and go in for so many students when we needed her the most. So great job.
Thank you so much, Miss Robles. I know all the girls had a great time playing basketball. Mrs. Jackson's going to wrap it up and talk to all of us about how A-Team did this season.
Well, I mean, it was an eye-opener coming back from COVID and not having to, compete against other schools. I think that this year was an eye-opener for a lot of our players. Basketball takes a lot of coordination and IQ to play the game. There's a lot that goes in, and my girls were like, whoa, I didn't know that. So it was a lot of hard work that they put in, and girls, you did just an amazing job this whole entire season. If anything, you just always gave it your best, and that's all we can ask for, and we're proud of you for that. I'm going to start off with my Big Board Award. We missed this player for a few games, and boy, did we miss her, because she was a big defensive and offensive rebounder for us. And so that award is going to Jasmine Raygoza. My other award that I have is, I called it my Hustle and Heart Award. Although all my girls gave it everything, this one person in particular just really, like, if she didn't have the skill for it, she made up with it with all of her hustle, her great passes, just always trying to do everything that I gave her instruction on. And it was amazing. I loved coaching her, and I'm going to miss her, Miss Lucy Minton. And my MVP, this girl, wow. She was always in there shooting, hustling, dribbling the ball up, trying to pass the ball. And I just love this family too. And she's an amazing girl and just super athletic and will always give it her all. So my MVP goes to Breck Nail. Congratulations to all of you girls, all A team, B team, and C team girls. Thank you all for coming out. We really, really appreciate it. And we're glad you had fun.
Great job, girls basketball. Mrs. Volante's up. We're shifting gears to boys basketball.
All right, on my JV2 team, I came in a couple of weeks late, but they already had some great skills going on thanks to Coach Franz. We did have a winning season, I would say, even though we won many games, but not every game. But the boys got out there and just worked every game as much as they could. I love their energy, and their willingness to learn the game was absolutely obvious. They were in it to win it. So my awards, my best defensive player, he was always around to get the rebound, and that would be Declan Ryan. Did a great job, Declan. My best offensive player, from dribbling to being the top scorer on the team, was Phoenix Portion. Did a great job. And my coach's award would go to Sammy Hussein. His attitude, the moment he came out to practice, what are we going to do? Let's do it. Let's go. He hustled. He was a team player and just really enjoyed playing the game. They all did. Every single one of them did a great job, and I'm so proud of them for the season that they had. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach. Next up, Mr. Franz, B Team Boys Basketball.
All right. Yeah, the B Team boys, we had a lot of tough games this season and several close games, but they always played hard. They hustled and gave their best effort every game. They always came to practice with just a good attitude and always showed good sportsmanship during the games. And they were a fun group to coach. So I appreciate their effort during the season. So my 3 awards. My first one is for the outstanding offensive player. And this goes to a player who came in, he already had some great dribbling skills. He would often bring the ball up the court for us. He made a lot of good passes, a lot of good shots throughout the season. And so my outstanding offensive player award goes to Justin Waters. My next award is for outstanding defensive player. And this goes to a player who always seemed to be around the ball. He always hustled up and down the court every possession. He made some great blocks and some great rebounds throughout each game. And my outstanding defensive player award goes to Joey Garcia. And my last award is for the coach's award. And this goes to a player who always showed good character during practices, during our games. He always had a positive attitude, and he did a great job at encouraging his teammates. And my coach's award goes to Zed Jones. Good job, guys.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Coach. Mrs. Prandini, our A-team or varsity boys basketball team.
All righty. I am so proud of this group of kids. They have so much potential, and I hope they all continue to play basketball because they're all going to be really good basketball players. I think my only regret is that I didn't get to coach them longer because they were so much fun to coach, and they just kept getting better and better every single game. And I could just see them growing and learning so much. And I hope that the 6th graders, I hope I get to watch you guys play next year at Clark. And we had a young team. We had 4 5th graders on the team this year, so I'm excited to get to coach them again next year. My favorite moment with this team was our last game against Red Bank because we were actually down by 7 at half, and we came back and we ended up tying it with 6 seconds left in the game and going into overtime. And it was just so exciting, and just seeing the determination with the kids, and they were not going to give up, and they were just from the get-go, they were in it, and they were in it to win it, and they were cheering each other on, and it was so exciting and fun, and it was definitely the best game that they played all year. And like I said, I wish I could have had even more games with them to keep that energy up, but I'm so proud of them. Excited to see where they go in the future. My first award is the Rookie of the Year award. This was a 5th grader on our team who was also our leading scorer, which was awesome. He was just fearless from game 1. He came out, he was shooting, and he was not afraid, and he just led by example with his confidence. His best game was against Sierra Vista. He had 14 points. And like I said, he's a 5th grader, so he's coming back for us next year. So I'm excited about that. And my Rookie of the Year award goes to Marcus Gonzalez. And my next award is my Jaguar Spirit Award. This player was our leading rebounder, averaging 6 rebounds a game. His best game was against Mickey Cox. He had 21 rebounds, 6 steals, and 7 points. I expected a lot out of him. I think I was probably harder on him than most of the other players. I pushed him every day, and he just continued to get better and better. He never gave up. I had that game against Red Bank that I mentioned earlier. Going into the 4th quarter, I told him, if you start getting some rebounds, we're going to win this game. And he just turned it on, and he just started dominating, and they couldn't score, and he just took the game over. He's the one who scored a free throw with 6 seconds left to tie it and put it into overtime. And unfortunately, he ended up fouling out in overtime, which kind of hurt us. But I was so proud of him because he was playing so aggressive, and he was just determined, and he was just dominating the court. So again, I'm super excited to watch him continue. I think he just has so much potential. And my Jaguar Spirit Award is Roman Felix. And then my last award is my Leadership Award. This kid, he just always did everything that I asked of him. He averaged 3 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals a game. He was just very consistent. Every time I put him in, he was doing exactly where he was supposed to be. He was working hard, doing everything he needed to do. He really just set the tone for the whole team as far as work ethic, and everyone just kind of followed his lead and watched how he paid attention and how hard he worked when he got in, and he always had a good attitude, and it really just made for such a positive season this year. My favorite game for him was also against Sierra Vista, and it's because he came out, another kid came out of the game at one point, and the player was upset, and I wanted to talk to him, but we were right in the middle of the game, and I was having to coach the players on the court. And so I'm coaching, and then I kind of get him in it. So I turn around to talk to that other player, and Raphael's got his arm around him, and he's talking to him, and he's saying, "It's okay, man, you got it. You're good, and don't worry, and you're doing a great job," and saying everything that I was just about to turn around and say. And it just, Raphael is just he's a humble leader, and he's just such a wonderful kid, and he's so much fun to coach. So my Leadership Award goes to Raphael Aguilar.
That's amazing. Congratulations on a wonderful season to our boys basketball teams and coaches. Mr. Bedwell and Mr. Partita are both here representing Jaguar Wrestling. Quick shout out to Coach Legaretta, who also helps out. Turn it over to Coach Bedwell.
Excuse me. Thank you. Our wrestling team, we're going to start with our JV squad. This year was a little bit different. We had some kids that had to miss time, and so a lot of our JV wrestlers actually had to fill in and wrestle some matches with our A team. I think that they were a little shocked by how practices, wrestling, it's a sport of control. You're trying to control another individual inside a wrestling mat, and a lot of the ways that you control people is sometimes you have to make them a little uncomfortable. And I think that at first the kids were a little caught off guard by that. I mean, we try to raise our kids to be nice kids and keep their hands to themselves and those kind of things. And all of a sudden you're telling them, no, we're going to hand fight with somebody, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And, but the kids showed a lot of toughness and a lot of grit, and the ones that filled in did a great job for us with the A team when they did that. And I just want to make sure that I acknowledge those people. It's really about getting better. So some weeks, some of our JV kids wrestled like 3 different matches before we started our 18 matches. And the majority of them always took advantage of that. The more time that they could wrestle, the better that they were getting. And you could see a lot of improvement towards the end of the year. With that said, you know, we have 3 awards to give out. I'm going to start with our most improved. This year was pretty cool. Clovis East puts on a tournament for our kids, and they set up a girls division. And so our girls got a chance to actually wrestle other girls, which doesn't usually happen during a wrestling season. It looks like that's going to end up being an annual thing that they're going to do. So I'm pretty excited about that. And this individual went to that tournament with us, and I just saw some really great things out of her. And so our most improved award for our JV team this year goes to Milena Luna. Great job, Milena. And then our outstanding lightweight, he was always at practice, was a good partner for, you know, some of our 18 kids at times, and just always working hard, and he always had a great attitude. He was another individual that I think when we wrestled against Gettysburg, I think he wrestled 2 or 3 times. Just always really enthusiastic about everything. I'm hoping he decides that he's going to wrestle next year, and that's Mr. Miles Dalswald. And then our outstanding heavyweight or upperweight wrestler, I should say. He was another kid that he had to wrestle with our 18 kids quite a bit at practice. Practice with them, was a good practice partner. Came out, wrestled hard all the time, just had a great attitude about everything. I believe he's in 5th grade, so I'm looking forward to having him back next year, and that is Mr. Malachi Bagaforo. All right, our A team this season. It's kind of weird because last year we didn't get to wrestle, and so some of these kids, I did have them in 4th grade. Some of them had never wrestled before, so a lot of them were first-year kids. And wrestling's something that if you don't do, I would say it's not like riding a bike. You don't always remember how to just get back on and start pedaling. So some of them had to relearn some stuff that they knew when they left in 4th grade, but weren't necessarily real comfortable with it this year. I was really excited after our first dual meet. We actually won a couple matches where our kids had to fight off their back and show a lot of toughness and a lot of grit. Ended up coming back and winning those matches, which ended up winning the dual meet for us. And I can just remember turning to the other coaches and I was like, we're going to be all right, because the kids can already do what we can't teach them, which is to be tough and to fight through things and to be okay with being uncomfortable during a wrestling match. And I think our season, while our wins and losses didn't really show how good the kids were getting and how much they had improved, the individual matches did. We were fighting and just being very, very competitive, and just a lot of times we ended up on the wrong side of the scoreboard at the end of the match. And in wrestling, you don't get any participation points. If you win, your team gets points. If you lose, you don't get any. So I was really proud of the kids as a whole. So with that being said, our outstanding lightweight this year, he's a first-year kid. He moved across the country. He was in Virginia last year. His first year ever wrestling. Got pretty excited about it. Started going to a club outside of school and ended up probably being one of the best first-year wrestlers that I've ever been around. I know that he lost to the kid that won our area by 1 point. I think he actually lost to the kid that won districts by 1 point. I don't think our district tournament turned out the way that we wanted it to, but the rest of the season on a whole, it was a very, very positive experience. And I hope that he continues to wrestle. So our outstanding lightweight this year is Mr. Hayden Schmall. This next kid, he actually came to us from a school up the street. Coach and I wrestled with him quite a bit because he's one of our bigger kids. So Coach Legaretta and myself, we practiced with him at practice a lot. Going into districts, I don't think he had allowed a single point scored on him all season. He was undefeated. He was doing a great job. Didn't have the district tournament that we were hoping for, but sometimes things happen. I hope that he takes that and uses it as something that he can grow with. And I know that the junior high and the high school are looking forward to seeing him. And that our outstanding heavyweight this year is Mr. Mohammed Zagul. This last individual, this was kind of hard for me because, like I mentioned earlier with COVID and stuff, I think he got quarantined twice, and you could really tell when he wasn't around our team. Besides the fact that he was a good wrestler, the kids kind of gravitated toward him, and they took on his attitude, and his positive attitude became their positive attitude. And it was just really nice to see when he was there. We were very different when he was around than when he wasn't. And he got quarantined right before area. So all of a sudden he comes into area and he hadn't wrestled for a couple of weeks. And you could kind of tell that not being on the mat for that time affected him. So I know we didn't have the area tournament that we wanted to have. But overall, the impact that he had on our team, it made him our most valuable wrestler, and that's Mr. Aiden Hendricks. All right, thank you, boys. I really appreciate the season. Hope you guys all continue to wrestle. And girls.
Awesome. Thank you so much, coaches. I want to also quickly mention we have a really important tradition in our Clovis High area. Each season, there is a luncheon that celebrates athletes from all 8 of our elementary feeder schools and includes Clark and Clovis High. Each varsity coach gets to pick 2 athletes who are doing an exceptional job in representing Clovis Elementary and are going to make outstanding future Cougars. So they're looking not only for talent in their sport, but for great character and leadership. So the wrestlers that were chosen to represent us at that luncheon were Mohammed Zagul and Aiden Hendricks. Our boys basketball players who were invited were Clark Belmont and Rafael Aguilar. And finally, our girls basketball representatives were Julia Hatfield and Lucy Menton. So just wanted to recognize and congratulate those athletes as well for being chosen for that luncheon. We are excited to be moving into our spring sports, baseball, softball, and boys volleyball for 5th and 6th graders. That permission slip is online thanks to Mrs. Spinhoff. So boys and girls, be ready for those new sports to start up next Monday. Thank you everybody for an outstanding season.